All right, welcome back to another episode of Breath of Fresh Air podcast here with your host,
Nakhaz
and Earl Roberts.
and we are at the Museum of the Bible.
Yo, crazy.
So as y'all know, we went to the Museum of the Bible. Here is like a visual adaptation of Nazareth.
This is where Jesus walked, as it was imagined by the creators of the museum. There's Dominic walking through a door.
Friend of the show. And there's me filming and being filmed at the same time.
It's a duopoly. So this was, what was that? Like the lamb? That's when they were just talking, and then we have a bunch of things going on right now. They had like a traditional Jewish dish.
Yeah, that's like the flatbread. I don't know exactly what to call it, but unleavened bread.
The wine press, if you ever want to know, they made the olive oil. I was like, how do you used to get the stone up there though? Leverage? Yes. Yeah, and then this is a traditional Jewish meal. And if you ask me, they still missing the venison or some lamb. But it look healthy, I'll give you that. It look healthy.
Yeah, this was the moment that we were waiting on as Bible nerds to get to the history and the artifacts. So that's the beginning, kind of telling us about the history of the Bible.
And this, I think, which stone was this one? The Hammurabi stone? But it is essentially like talking about ancient history from that time period. Yes, this is like some artifact from that time talking about the Akkadian Empire. Yeah, this is when I was comparing different scrolls and how they compare to like what's in the Bible, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, Stone of Hammurabi.
Yeah, a lot of historic facts. Since we were at the Museum of the Bible, it was only fitting that they teach us about, Bibles.
And oh boy, did we miss the memo.
Oh yeah.
Oh my, it was a certain point that after you get past all the historical stuff, you like hit this curve, and all it was like, oh, this is the first Bible of this, or this is the first Bible of that, or this is the first Bible by the printing press, and these are the ancient Torah scrolls, or this was the first Bible in England, and it was like, oh, this is the Museum of the Bible.
The Bible, yes. Overall, we had a lot of different experiences. There's some things that we couldn't film, some interactive parts. It was really good. It was really entertaining, and it was very insightful. And so, if you're all interested in DC, the Museum of the Bible, you could go and check it out for yourself. The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Satan, again you present yourself before me and my sons. And I ask you, from whence comest thou?
You know where I've been, roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it.
Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth? A perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and shews away evil, and he still holds his integrity. Although you have moved me against him to destroy him without cause.
Job. Skin for skin. A man will give all he has for his own life. But now stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and his bones, and he will surely curse you to your face.
Behold, he is in your hand, but save his life.
In this week's episode, we dive into Job chapter 2, where the stakes are raised even higher in Job's trials. As he faces intense physical suffering, Job's faith is unwavering, and his integrity is put to the ultimate test. Join us as we explore the depths of perseverance, pain, and the human spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gate.
And Earl Roberts. Hopefully everyone had a great week. And yeah, we are back at it. Another week, another episode. How's your week been, man?
My week was good. Can't complain. I feel like I'm making some good progress with my leg. Some days I just wake up and something could hurt. So you brace yourself for certain things. So like I get out of bed, I might brace myself on that first step. I'm like, that didn't
go so bad.
I didn't really feel it. Yeah, like a couple of times I've woken up and a certain pain that I would expect to feel, I didn't feel it. And I'm like, man, I'm getting there. Like my body is like getting to the final stage. So by the grace of God, still got a good much work to do, probably like 3 months, maybe 4 of work. But
it's like a full year.
I'm thankful. Yeah, I mean, bro, another thing too, I can't get into too much details now, but bro, God been like opening doors for me this year, bro. Like it might be something where like somebody wanna like sometimes like people wanna use my music for like ads or whatever, right? And like random people been hitting me up this year, and that has not happened. Even when my song was hot, like the type of things that people asking, the type of opportunities I getting, I didn't get those, bro. And I just had to pray hard this morning and yesterday because like God has answered prayers that I didn't even ask for. You know what I mean? Like certain things, it might seem like real talk, it might seem like kind of outlandish. It's like with Abraham and Sarah, right? When they reach a certain age, after not having their child, it's like I could still pray for this child. Come on, like it just ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like it's illogical in a way. It's not impossible, but it's illogical. Some things I did not. I can't say I prayed for this, but I think God answered my prayer based on answer my desires. You see what I'm saying? And I'm just thankful, bro. Like I can't even lie, but like it kind of blew my mind because I made the initiative to stop making music, right? Stop making secular music, only Christian music, and I've been struggling to do that. Like it's been hard for me to produce and write and just be inspired, but also that didn't slow down like revenue or opportunities for me. As a matter of fact, I had more opportunities this year outside of like performances, right? But like more opportunities this year than I've had in any year. And that's just so crazy to me because I know it ain't by my might because I'm not marketing this. You know what I'm saying? But God been putting things, sending things my way. So I'm very thankful. That's my little testimony. I ain't lying.
Amen. And that's how God is work, man. Like when people say God sometimes just needs to know if you're willing to sacrifice it for him, right? Willing to sacrifice it for him, and then all things in his time, and like he was willing to put aside, even though he wasn't even really doing it for the fame, but he was ready to put aside the fame and the notarization to doing secular music and actually start making music for him. And he's like, all right, cool, your heart in the right place. I see you willing to give it up for me, and now all the things that you wanted originally, God giving it to you now when you don't even want it, almost,
Yeah, but make no mistake, bro. I wanted fame, bro. Like I ain't even
my bad.
Like you right that I didn't do it for fame, but I was waiting for that because like in my mind I wanted to be validated. You see what I'm saying? Like I know what God has put in me. I know what I have done. Like I know my capabilities, and I wanted to be known as the guy who put out good music, who was honest with the craft, and who pushed his culture forward, his culture, his country, his genre forward. You see what I'm saying? And then to be known for that. That come with notoriety, you know. And I really wanted to be known for that. Like I wanted people to respect me in that regard, you know. And I had to put all that to the side, but like I had to put all that to the side. And I feel like it was times where I feel like I let a lot of people down because there are people who have aspirations for me, like people who support me from day one, from day zero. And they're like, bro, this dude can go places, bro. They vouch for me. You know what I mean? It's almost like Job, right? When God vouched for Job. You see what I'm saying? And Job ultimately followed through because God was right. But I feel like I proved people wrong. Like that was something I had to live with. But at the end of the day, it was what I did was for the honor and glory of God. And I had somebody reach out to me yesterday for an opportunity to do a new song, right? And I don't know if it's gonna be like monetarily advantageous, but for the sake of relationship on who this person was and who they work with, it would be a good look for me. You see what I'm saying? In terms of like, you know, Bahamian comedians and like just people who have
Yeah.
somewhat of a name, you know what I mean? And I had to turn them down. I say, bro, I could be honest with you, I could do this, but then people go expect me to be on this type of time, and that's not the type of time I on. It ain't like there's anything bad with this, but I really trying to be a Christian artist and I trying to push Christianity, and I don't want to conflate the two. I don't want people to look at me and see me in my old element and get excited and say, oh, this is the Kazi that I've been waiting on. Or even the people who get introduced to me. If you get introduced to me by this thing, you in for a rude awakening because I ain't doing this consistently or anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And they appreciate it, and it just is what it is, man. I just thankful that I see, you know, God has blessed me
Amen.
throughout it all.
Amen. We serve
how
an
was your week,
on-time
bro?
God, bro.
By the time this airs, you would have had a different week.
It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I can't even talk about it now because of where I is, but
Yeah, we
yeah.
ain't spoil a surprise.
Yeah. But you know, God is good. Life events are happening. And again, we serve an on-time God. See, timing is everything, ladies and gentlemen. Timing is everything. Nothing before
For
its
sure.
time, and definitely nothing before God's time.
Definitely. But next week, y'all just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Oh my, God is good. But yeah, overall, my week's been good, man. I even got like a surprise. Like I got like a random bonus at work today, so that was like unexpected. So I was
Man,
like, oh, cool, thanks. I'll take more money.
right.
I'm not one to turn down money that's sourced by ethical means. But yeah, man, God is good. God is good. But another weekend. This gonna be an exciting week, which we'll talk about later. So we're in the book of Job, but this week we're actually gonna go in Proverbs 3. It's a little lengthy, so let's walk through it. So Proverbs chapter 3. My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commandments in your heart. For they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on a tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and good name in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Everyone should know that. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. Woo, that fits in with today's chapter.
Job. Yeah, that's Job right there.
Exactly. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Interesting. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled and overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. Amen. Amen. Give unto the Lord what is the Lord's. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines those he loves. As a father, he is as a father, the son he delights in. Blessed are those who go for it.
This sounds so much like the book of Job, bro.
I know, right?
Like even like from multiple people in the book of Job have shared these sentiments one way or the other. That's kind of interesting.
I know, right? Verse 13, blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver, and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare to her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are the riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways, and her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her fast will be blessed. By wisdom, the Lord laid the earth's foundations. By understanding, he set the heavens in place. It's so crazy. This just like, again, echoing like parts of Job. By his knowledge, the watery depths were divided, and the clouds let drop the dew. My son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Preserve sound judgment and discretion. They will be life for you, an ornament of grace to your neck, an ornament to grace your neck. Then you will go on your way in safety, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Have no fear of sudden disaster or of the ruin that overtakes the wicked. The Lord will be at your side, and he will keep your foot from being snared. Do not withhold good from those whom it is due. When it is in your power to act, do not say to your neighbor, come back tomorrow, and I will give it to you. When you are ready, when you already have it with you, do not plot harm against your neighbor who lives truthfully near you. Do not accuse anyone for no reason when they have done you no harm. Do not envy the violent or choose any of their ways, for the Lord detests the perverse, but takes the upright into his confidence. The Lord's curse is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the name of the righteous. He mocks proud mockers, but shows favor to the humble and the oppressed. The wise inherit honor, but the fools only get shame.
That's good. Bro, it's a lot of gems.
Yeah,
It's a lot of gems.
I would hope so with
I
35
have
voices.
I have a few things highlighted.
Go for it.
Proverbs 3 verse 9, honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruit of all your increase. That would almost go what I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like it's just the thought of, you know, not giving all to God, like
Mm-hmm.
making God rule over everything that you have, including your possessions. You know what I'm saying? If this could benefit God, or if this could be as a help to God's ministry, you know, honor him with that. You feel me? You know, there are people who argue that tithing is
It's
a
not,
Levitical.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not like New Testament. We have places in the Old Testament. Like this is speaking just general wisdom. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like honor the Lord with your possession. Like it ain't saying thou shalt XYZ, but it's telling you, bro, like do this. Like this is what you should do. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing to do. Another thing that I had highlighted all the way to the end. But one thing I think about right now, I'd say, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power, when it is in the power of your hand to do so. That's verse 23. I mean 27. That's a good one too, because it's like even sometimes you might want to just be like, I and that. You see what I saying? Oh, this person ain't gonna miss it. If I don't give them this, they ain't gonna miss it because they don't know about it or whatever. But if it's in your power to do for someone, do it. Don't withhold. Don't make them wait, bro. Do
Exactly.
that. Do that
And
now. You see what I'm saying?
that's a
That's something
powerful
that,
gem too, because they say don't say come back tomorrow. I'll give it to you when you already have it with you. Like,
yeah, you got that right now. Deal with that right now. And that's a good one. That's something I gotta think about even more, you know. And the last one I had highlighted is do not envy the oppressor and choose none of his ways.
mm-hmm.
That's a hard one because like imagine like during the time of slavery, right? Of course, you know, people saying, bro, I wish I was in their shoes and they was in my shoes. You see what I'm saying? Nah, it's a little bit more nuanced. So that probably is an example I should just stay away from. But whenever somebody is doing something unethical or just oppressing in some type of way, you could be directly harmed by that. And you saying, bro, I wish that was me doing that, bro. You see what I saying? Like, or you might say, but like I hate them or something, right? But sometimes we don't really hate what they doing. We hate that they doing it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had the opportunity, we would do it back to them. Or if yeah, we would do it back to them. Or if we could get revenge, we would get revenge. You see what I'm saying? But that ain't true love or righteousness. You see what I'm saying? You being manipulated by you being manipulated by what someone else do. That person change you. You see what I'm saying? That person influence the way you act and what you how your thoughts on that. And the Bible say, do not envy them. You see what I'm saying? Don't choose their ways. You stay true, like stay righteous. Don't let what someone do to you cause you to sin, you know?
I
So yeah, they just some of
agreed.
them, some gems that I
I'm,
got.
I'm gonna go with I would say one of the obvious ones, but everyone kind of know before, but it's just still so powerful. Verse 5, right? Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. Some versions say direct your path. And for me, that's a big one too, because even kind of like the journey I went on this year is like, man, we all have plans, we all have things we want to do, and we all have our own ways and methods to get there, right? I think about Moses when Moses wanted to be the leader of the Israelite people, essentially, the one who actually brings him out of Egypt. He wanted to do it his way. And God had to humble him for 40 years. And by the time God was ready to use him, Moses didn't even want the job no more. He was coming up with all the excuses to not do the job that he originally wanted 40 years prior. But it's one thing to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding because, man, we think we know what's best for us, and that's just human nature. We always think we know what's best, and it's something. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to surrender your own plans and desires. For things to happen when you want them to happen, right? It's kind of interesting. Even how you started off the episode talking about how things are going with you now, which is like a big blessing, right? But and again, it's like when you actually wanted these things to happen, when you were doing it your way, when you were, still praying that God makes you like gives you the success that you're having now. God was like, it's not time for that yet. It's not the time for you to have what you want. When you're in a better place with me, when you can walk with me, grow in me, then I can grant you some of these desires of your heart. When I know they won't become a snare to you. And that's so interesting with like just how this book is just talking about the wisdom, right? We see again how later down in the chapter, I was saying like, yo, wisdom is more precious than gold, more precious than silver. It gives better returns than golds, more precious than rubies, and just showing how priceless having godly wisdom truly is. And then goes on to show like, oh, you want to know how some of these things were done? Like by wisdom, God laid the earth's foundation. By wisdom, the watery depths were divided. By the clouds give their due. But the heavens stay in place. It's like by God's godly wisdom, the wisdom that we can't comprehend. That's how these things happen. You want to say something?
You good.
Oh, sorry. Look at you. So you was about to say something. But yeah, man, like I think it's a really important book. I mean, well, the book is important, right? But like this chapter was laden with some gems, and definitely some of the ones you mentioned too. Well, not some of them, all of them you mentioned too were very, very standoutish. Okay.
I definitely agree. And like I say, it actually does align with the book of Job, So you can see that the people in this book, they spoke from a perspective of wisdom. Um some of their thought processes were off. You see what I'm saying? But it was based on their, general understanding of God and the things of the divine. But we'll get to that as we go along.
All right. So yeah, now we are going to go back to the book of Job, where again, last week's recap of the book of Job, we were introduced to Job, where it's a book that it's set in ancient Hebrew time, so we don't know exactly when. We weren't even sure if Job was a Hebrew for real. He wasn't living in any Hebrew town, but we see he had a very close relationship to God, and he served the one true God. Similar to like when we found out about Melchizedek. Might be butchering his name a little bit, right? But remember, he was the high priest of the Most High God, And we were like, bro, where you come from? We thought Abraham was the only
Right.
one in this time period who was serving the Most High God, but we know that was that guy named Melchizedek, who was also a priest, king. Like he was a priestly king before his time. You know, it was interesting fellow. So
Yeah,
and go for it.
they have a couple of people like that too, though. Like you had Midian, Jethro,
Midian. Hmm. Depending
Moses'
on
father-in-law, depending on who's saying it or what
yeah.
verse you go from. And then we also had Balaam, the
Mm,
prophet slash sorcerer Balaam, all of which were not Israelites, but worshiped the Most High God.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so last week we saw how Job was give similar. Good, Job was an interesting guy, right? Because he gives you similar, remember, like harkens back to like Abraham, harkens back to like Noah, this righteous man in this generation, super wealthy. God has blessed him. God has blessed his hands. Like God has blessed everything he touched, right? But in a twist of events, we see this heavenly courtroom open, and the accuser was like, yo, I just came back and from like venturing earth, and God was like, you see my servant Job? And the accuser was like, bro, come on, I don't even know why you're bringing up Job. Like Job is kind of like a handicap, bro. Like we only know Job only serving you like this because you blessing him. Like let me take away these blessings and we can see how Job truly gonna act, right? And
Exactly.
God was like, all right, don't lay a hand on him, but let's go for it. And we see Job lost all of his possessions. He lost all 10 of his children in
Hmm.
one day, one evening. What a gut punch that must be. What a gut punch that must be. But even through all of this, right? I'm just gonna recap the last two
Last verse.
the last 2-3 verses, right? Then Job
Mhm.
arose, tore his robe, he shaved his head, and he fell to the ground and worshipped. So after all of this stuff, after he found out his possessions were taken away, after he found out all 10 of his children died, and again, he found this out right after the other. It wasn't like, oh, we had a data thing. It was like in like a probably a 10-minute span, you found that you lost everything that you have, and you lost all of your children. And he the first thing he did was worship. And then he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And in all of this, Job did not sin, nor charge God with wrong.
Hmm.
So all of this, man, I could tell you, boy, I don't know. I don't know that could be my response, but that shows the Lord's still working on me.
All right.
The Lord's still working on me. And then, so now we in
I ju-
chapter 2. Go for it.
no, I just saying, bro. Like, think about the level of trauma, bro. Even if you
Boy, I can't
like, we was in
fathom.
DC, we was in DC, and our car get run for $50, bro. That we didn't, that it wasn't, that didn't benefit us. Like, he went to someone else, right? It was somewhere where somebody
Hmm.
benefited $50. That bugged me. I had pay that bugged me for a while. You know what I mean? It was more so the principle. It wasn't really the amount, but that still bugged me.
Hmm.
Imagine you lose everything, right? That's a problem in its own. You went bankrupt, bro. And not even because bankruptcy have its benefits in America, but you went broke. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I tell you,
it's
boy,
like you was
people
in
be using
Vegas and
bankruptcy to not pay bills and keep their money. I say, boy, this is a crooked system. But anyway, we
exactly.
digress.
And so that's one thing. And then you lose all your children, bro. You had 10 children. You had 10. You lost all 10 one time.
One time.
That's trauma, bro. Like certain things, people just go crazy. Like these type of events happening. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But Job still finding in himself through the despair and through all of the agony, to be humble and to still give God the praise. And so he truly was an upright man, though. That's a fact.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So now, chapter 2. And again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan, again, Satan is, in the Hebrew, it is Satan, the accuser, came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to Satan, from where do you come? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it. Again, Satan just, saying, but earth's my territory, buddy. Kind of being a little boastful here, if you really ask me.
Mhm.
And then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? That there is none like him on the earth, a blameless man, an upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil, hearkening back to Proverbs 3 that we just read earlier. And still he holds fast to his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him without cause.
Mm.
Mercy.
So it's interesting that the language here, because just last chapter, the Bible say, God say, Satan, you do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't touch his person. Just don't touch his body, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now look at God's verbiage. He say, you have incited me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Against
Go for
him. As if it was God who did that.
Yeah, it's like you could get that impression from this, but like again, when you read, if you keep on reading down, like when we get to verse 6, right? We must come back to verse 4 and 5, right? But in verse 6 it said, and the Lord said to Satan, behold, he is in your hand, but spare his life. So now you're going back to
correct.
Go for it. I think we're on the same page.
But that's the same. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying perspective. So last chapter, God said the same thing. He was like, yo, I removed the hedge. Do whatever you want. And he was telling Satan to do. You see what I'm saying? But now God's own words, he said, you have incited me against him. Now, it's a few ways you can look at it, but one, incited me against it, could say, you have incited me to remove the hedge that will work against Job. You see what I'm saying? Or, I think that's my next example. It can kind of be the same way, because when we go all the way back to was it 1 Samuel, when we was talking about King Saul, right? He was tormented. When you look at the Samuel account, they'll say, I think they say the Lord brought a spirit on Saul, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you look at the King's account or the Chronicles account, they say the devil bring the spirit. You know what I mean? And so it's like when they talk about light and darkness, right? Like, can you add more darkness, or could you just remove the light? You see what I'm saying? Like type situation. And I ain't no science person. I might be saying it wrong, so y'all please don't kill me. Don't get too literal. But
nope.
You get the point.
Darkness is just, there's no such thing as darkness. It's just no light.
Right. It's just absence of light.
Yep.
Right. And so that's the thing about God. So it's like the devil only can do what God permit him to do. So when God removes his hedge, that gives the devil more of a foothold. And some things we can do to cause God to remove the hedge. You see what I'm saying? It's like
exactly
in the book of Deuteronomy 28, when it started off saying, "Hey, y'all can, but if we stay on one accord, y'all can be the best nation in the world." You see what I'm saying? If you follow my commands, if you do all of this, bro, blessings could come. You could be blessed going in, you could be blessed coming out type situation. But if you don't, the curse is gonna come. It's the same coin. You see what I'm saying? And so I just find that interesting, because I believe that in context, God is not saying that he did that, because there's nowhere in the story where it say God did this, God did that. We see where the devil was permitted to do that, and we see how the devil did that,
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Agreed. Like, yeah, I agree with exactly what you say. I'm on the same wavelength. Like, it's not God punishing Job. It's God allowing Satan to do his worst. Essentially, like just removing his protection he was given Job. Because again, if we go back to chapter 1, Job, because Satan said, you have a hedge of protection around Job. So if say saying, bro, you pointing out Job, but you know you protecting him. Why are you even pointing him out? I messed with all these other people.
Right.
All these other people who's sitting carelessly.
Yeah.
You protecting this boy. You have him trapped in the castle. Nobody can get to him. And you want to talk with him?
Throw that in my face? Yeah,
exactly.
Throw that in my face?
Satan say, no, let's talk apples to apples. remove this hedge of protection, and let's truly see what Job waking with. You want to boast about
Say
him?
me,
Let's see what he's saying for real. He got to meet me in these streets.
but say you know what he was up against. You know,
No.
one thing what I wish. You know, one thing that I wish we could have get out of this book. The book, we don't really hear from Satan after these two chapters. I don't
No.
think, unless I'm mistaken, right? But I would like to see the third meeting when he come and
When he
God
come
say,
back.
hey, if you consider what you got to say now type situation. You know, I know it's not necessary, but I would love to hear what the
Hey,
rationale is.
resist the devil and he will flee from you.
Exactly. Oh man.
So going back to verses 3, then the Lord said this, verse 4, my bad. So Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin. Yes, all that a man has, he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will surely curse you to your face. So Satan essentially saying, yeah, I take away all his possessions, but he's still in perfect health. A man would give up all of that for health and his life. So come on now, what you doing? Let me go.
When I was right.
Go for it.
No, finish your statement.
Satan was saying, man, hey, stop trying to play with the advantage. Let me do my do, and I can get him to crack. It's what Satan's trying to say.
Yeah. When I was writing my sermon on Nehemiah, I can't remember the chapter though. I want to say Nehemiah chapter 9.
The good work has to be
when
finished. Why should the good work
Right.
stop?
Right. I was talking about how when you get deep into the text, it come a time when they was threatening Nehemiah's life. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Nehemiah still wouldn't fall. And it come a time where one of the just like a righteous man, bro. I think he might have been a prophet, and he had a good report. And he was like, bro, but we're out in the street, but they coming to kill you, bro. Let's go in the temple. And
It's
Nehemiah
Nehemiah
realized,
6.
hey, Nehemiah 6.
Mm-hmm.
So Nehemiah's like, this don't sound right. Like I know this, but he ain't come from God because he incited me to commit a sin. You see what I saying? And at the end of that, like as those verses progress, he turned around and say, like he was trying to get me to sin so that they could use this against me, type situation, so they could use this report against me. And then when you crossed out with this verse in Job chapter 2, you understand Satan's last resort. Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yes, all that a man has, he will give for his life, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if Satan in Nehemiah, they couldn't trick him, they couldn't pressure him, they couldn't try to blackmail him, he would not move. And so they threatened his life. It's like, bro, if I could get you scared enough, you can sin, you can crack under pressure. You see what I'm saying? And then we could use this against you. So if Nehemiah had went into that temple fearing for his life, them same people who scared him into the temple would say, hey, this man is a sinner, lose all hope, stop listening to him. And that truly would have disrupted their
The
efforts to
work.
build a
Yep.
wall. It would have worked. And so look at what Satan's saying, bro. Skin for skin. Satan basically saying, bro, this is my trump card, bro. If I need to get someone to do whatever I want to do, I just gotta threaten their life, bro. I gotta put them in harm's way. I gotta put them in a way where they about to get killed.
Make them
And we see that
feel at least they're gonna die.
exactly, and we see that with the martyrs. We see in martyrs, or there's we learn stories of martyrs. It's a bunch of people fighting for a cause, bro. The minute they say, "Oh, y'all can get hanged for this," or "Y'all can get burned at the stake for this," some people start recounting their story. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it's been in history, and that's just how it is. And I feel like that's why in in war and stuff, people just try to torture you and things so you can recant or X, Y, Z. Because at the
Go for
core of things, the devil's like, bro, you'll do anything for your life. That's your price. If you didn't have any other monetary or any other influence, your life would definitely be that factor for you.
I mean, like, let's think about it, right? Even more recently, we've seen examples in our podcast, right? Let's think about the time of Esther. Let's think about the time of Daniel, right? In Daniel, see multiple times One with the three Hebrew boys. Worship the statue or you will die.
Mm-hmm.
Pray to Xerxes or whatever the king was at that time, or you will die. Or the thing was Darius, or you will die. Again, like you put your life in danger, people willing to compromise their values and their principles because of your life. I mean, we've had this discussion on the podcast, even during those episodes, like, man, if we were to go to one of these countries that are Islamic and they are super Islamic, you know, and said where Christianity is illegal and we are caught, what would our response be?
Mm.
Because when your life on the line, you rationalize things way different. Way different. Things you wouldn't even things you wouldn't even consider. You would be like, boy, you start saying, by God, God understand if I do this, like, so man, to your point, to Satan's point at this point in time, bro, a lot of people do things they wouldn't normally do when their life is on the line. And it's a guaranteed fact. It ain't no play thing. It's like, bro, you answer this question the wrong way, you will die. And that's a guaranteed. So
Yeah, bro. And I got one more text.
go for
one
it.
more text. So Revelation 12, right? So in this chapter, I ain't got the time to get a full context, but I'm gonna just read a couple verses. And I heard a loud voice saying, "In heaven now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night." They're talking about Satan, the accuser. That's to your point earlier. Satan means the accuser. And they overcame by the blood of the Lamb. They're talking about the saints of God, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives even unto death. So even in the book of Revelation, of future, a prophetic time in to come, they talking about the saints of God who overcame, because even in the midst of persecution, their love for their life did not supersede their love for Christ. You see what I'm saying? Because so they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, and they love not their life even unto death. Sometimes we love our lives more than we love Christ. And Christ himself says that if you lose your life, if you save your life, you will lose it. And if you lose your life for my sake, you will save it. You know what I'm saying? You can take that literally, talking about being persecuted for Christ, if you in that predicament, or you could take that figuratively saying that everybody have stuff going on where we think our plan for our life is. And if you try to preserve that, you could lose your life. You will lose your life. You will lose your soul. You will lose your salvation doing that. But if you choose to lose your earthly desires and focus on God and what God has for you, then you will actually keep your life, or you will actually find your life, yeah.
Amen. So now we in verse 7. So Satan went up from the presence of the Lord and struck Job with painful boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. And he took for himself a potsherd with which to scrape himself while he sat in the midst of the ashes. So we see Satan essentially said, so done. He in my hands, I will have my way with him. And now he inflicted Job with painful boils from head to toe. And now we see Job then took for himself a broken pot, something sharp, and started to scrape away all the boils, just to, I guess, try to relieve some of the pain. So just imagine the state that he was in. Oh,
That's crazy.
And he sat in the midst of the ashes. Mercy.
My eyes get hypes. Like, that's an allergic reaction. If I consume orange juice.
That still happening to you?
That's an inside joke. My mommy tried to put orange juice in the Kool-Aid one year. I tell her about it. I was so hurt. I said, "Mommy, how could you? How could you?" Let me say that still is happening. I said, everything cool. Everything is cool. I don't know if it still happens because I refuse to drink orange juice in any quantity. But I can be real. I remember that being miserable, bro. Like I remember I had like two break outbreaks and I would get hives and boils. Like it just
Mm,
depends on how bad of a reaction I have, bro. And I
mercy.
remember, bro, all over my body, bro. Just all over your body is just a continuous rash, bro. I remember under my foot, bro. You know how annoying that is? Under your foot, bro, you got a rash. You know what I mean? Like so it's like sensitive to walk on and things like that. Just my lips swelling, all type of thing happening, boils and thing. I remember I had to be like 5 or 6 though, you know, but it's miserable. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
boy.
by by just being itchy and thing, but that's a miserable feeling, bro. Certain things really is I know, bro. Certain things really just hard to deal with, I'd say. You know, and I believe this probably was the worst skin disease he could have had because we could see the devil wasn't trying to spare Job in any type of way. You know
No.
what I mean? So he probably had something crazy, you know, something hard to look at. But you ever like had a rash or something, and you looking at yourself like, bro, I want this, but like I don't want this to be happening to me, bro. Like you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like no. When I came out of surgery, I was scared to look at my knee because I was afraid of how bad a condition my knee would have looked. So when I came out of surgery, they had it bandaged. They had like 3 or 4 bandages on it, and it was in my brace. You feel
Hmm.
me? And they instructed me to take it off to clean it. And I was just scared because I was like, but I remember what my knee used to look like.
Mm.
I don't want this be like really
A
like change.
Frankenstein
Like I
looking
didn't
knee.
want like yeah, like I was hoping there was no like it was they didn't deform my knee in any type of way. Like I was scared to look at it, bro. When I look at this, like, oh, okay, now I'm bad. You know what I mean? But imagine all over your body, bro. These sores and these boy, I know, bro. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. And then having to scrape yourself while you're going through it. I think, oh my. Some people say this might have been like a form of leprosy, as you're gonna see later as we go through. Like he removed himself from like kind of like the city life, and he
Mhm.
was like, kind of isolated by himself, which kind of back in that culture when you had these type of things, you had to remove yourself from society for fears of it being contagious.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, like think about all this, man. Like we don't know how soon after his kids died that this took place. But again, think about let's just say if this happened over a month's time. Just think about how rough of a month that was. You know what I'm saying? You literally lost all your possessions and your children, and now you yourself are being
Yeah,
afflicted by this disease that just,
yeah,
almost like just came out of nowhere.
yeah. I mean, that just ain't. I such a brat though, bro. I wouldn't have been able to put up with this, bro. And I gotta really work on myself for real. I know it allowed a lot to take certain things from me, but I know I would have been miserable, bro. Like I have psoriasis, dog. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And by on my scalp, I just gotta make sure I keep it oil and wash a lot and things like that. I just have to go to dermatologist for that all type of thing. But if I have like if something irritate my scalp and it real itchy, boy,
Hmm.
that's a miserable feeling, bro. Like yeah, your scalp just being itchy, miserable feeling, bro. Imagine your whole body, bro. Like that's all I saying.
No, for
I
real.
know, but I probably would have been very grouchy. I probably would have thrown a tantrum, bro. Just being real. You know what I mean? Like I probably would have thrown a
Oh,
tantrum.
bar. I just picture like a Austin the Grouch and Cookie Monster mashup just now. I don't know why. Like,
Then mixed Tasmanian devil just spinning around. That's probably me. You put all them together. That's
um,
probably how I could do it, bro.
goodness gracious. But yeah, boy, Job was going through it. Job was going through it, and then in verse 9, we see that his wife said to him, "Do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse God and die." Powerful.
Powerful.
Do you do you still hold on to your integrity? Oh, Michael, let you kick it off.
So I just wonder the tone because it ain't no right way you could take this, right? But if she was sincerely asking, like, bro, you still, because okay, it's like faith without Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen, right? You have evidence that all of your righteousness has brought you to a point. Like if the story ended right here, all of your righteousness led to your destruction. You lost everything despite being righteous. It's almost like the ideology that if there's no heaven, why would you live righteous? You know what I mean? You could run up the tab on sin. You say he's saying because it don't matter. You know what I mean? It don't matter if you do right or wrong because you pass away and it's nothing. Or you pass away and everyone just go to hell. You know what I mean? It don't matter if you live right or wrong because everyone just get punished. I think his wife is coming from the perspective of, bro, if all the good you did still left you hell, I am willing to say this is probably the most tragic story that they have witnessed. Mm-hmm. And it happened to them. Like they can't say, oh, but at least it ain't like so and so down the street. But she get, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like no, you the worst example of anything that's happened. So, in your perspective, it's like I could have been a sinner and I could have had an easier life than right now. You know what I mean? And so his wife probably saying, bro, you stressing yourself out trying to be, no, I ain't gonna say trying to be righteous, but basically it's an easier way to live life now, considering that it's just how it is. You know what I mean? You might as well just curse God and die, bro. Like, it can't be no worse than this, bro. You know what I mean? It can't be no worse than this. If you curse God, you probably could be in the same predicament you in, but at least you're dead.
So it's another way to look at it too. And I hate to be the one to vouch for Lot's wife in this circumstance, right? But when you consider
Job's wife.
Oh yeah, Lot, yeah.
Leave Lot out of this, bro. Not in.
Another one whose wife was a little questionable.
Yeah,
but there was no redeeming that one.
Yeah.
But Job's wife, right? She just lost all her children too. She just lost all her wealth too. And now you're seeing your husband suffer. Not just physically, not just emotionally and mentally as he was doing probably 2-3 days ago, a month ago when just the children died, but now you're seeing him physically suffer along with all this emotional and mental guilt that he was dealing with from the children dying, from losing everything. So you're seeing this happen. You can't rationalize what's going on. Ironically, you don't even know the limitation that God gave Satan. So right now, even if Job was to curse God and die, he probably still ain't get dead because Satan can't kill him. Right?
Right.
Which is a kind of a weird irony, right? But man, I remember like one thing my mommy said, right? She said like when anyone I love, when someone I press, like no one just suffer. Like hopefully you die quickly, and if you in a way you have to be suffering. And so now to Job's wife and her mortal mind, bro, the only thing worse than this is death, and arguably. Death might be easier than this because you ain't got to feel this pain no more. You can just be out of your misery. I don't know what you do, buddy. But, buddy, if you curse God, I know for sure God could turn whatever hedge of protection he had against you and you will die. Like when Balaam say, but I can't curse them, I can get them to curse themselves. If I can get you to almost curse yourself and die, I almost rather you dead than being in this suffering right now. I mean, like last week when we was in DC, we saw a quote saying that this quote, and this quote struck out to us when we saw it. It was saying that, man, one of the slaves said, if I could be free for 1 minute, and know that I was dying after that minute was done, I would take it. And so, and that just goes to show the life and the suffering and the torture that the slaves was going through. So now you're seeing your husband in this state. The man that you love, the man that you done build this whole life with is all getting taken down. Now you not only suffering emotionally, you suffering physically. I can't stand to see you suffer like this. This is not the Job that I know. This is not the guy who was once blessing others, building up altars, sacrificing, full of joy, full of life. This is not the Job that I know. And it almost pains me to see you like this. And it's interesting, right? Because, man, we know how much pain his children dying brought him, right? But it's like, bro, why did the wife stay alive in all of this, right? Like, what? And again, it's funny, right? 'Cause I know we both see some jokes in this, right? But it's like when you start, because I was thinking about this when I was like driving. I was like, bro, why did the wife of all people truly stay alive, right? Because again, if you're really trying to inflict someone some pain, you would kill their loved one. I mean, you love your children too, but man, that's your partner. You know, you build this life with your partner too. You know what I'm saying? Like that would deal with emotional damage to you as well, right? But man, like I started to think too, like you start looking at the Bible, is this why picking a partner, right? Partner is very important, right? But like you start to see how much influence your partner has over your life, right? And the devil know the people closest to us can also cause us to do things that we wouldn't normally do. You look at Adam and Eve. Eve brought Adam the fruit. Who would already eat it and Adam eat it? This ain't trying to be no woman versus man thing, right? You look at Samson and Delilah. Delilah gets Samson to tell him his secret because he was in a place of comfortability. You know what I'm saying? Potiphar's wife tried to get Joseph. You look at Ananias and Sapphira to keep it like gender neutral, right? Ananias was the one who kept the money, and Sapphira knew about it, but she didn't. She covered for her husband. You know what I'm saying? Like the person closest to you, your loved one, your partner in life, has a way to become a snare to you if you let them. And this is why the Bible say, yo, you have to love your mother and your father, your family members, your brother and sister more than me. I mean, you have to love me more than them. You know what I'm saying? So is interesting. It's interesting because, man, in that moment right there, right? We think we might be thinking the real test was to get him inflicted with the boils, but the real test of his fate probably would have been when his wife, the woman who he loves the most in this world, you know what I'm saying, was the very one being used by the devil in that moment to get Job to do what the devil wanted him to do.
Yeah, because sometimes if you don't do things, so it's like when the saints during the Crusades, when people would be tortured and killed for their faith, right? Sometimes, bro, you could torture and harm somebody and they don't fold. They don't fold at all. But then they say, okay, let's see what happens when I bring your child in, right? I start harming your child and I say, bro, if you do this one thing, your child can be straight, then we can let them go. Some people cry because of that. They don't want to see they loved one suffer. You see what I'm saying? So now I looking at it in a reverse way. You don't want your wife to suffer. She already lost 10 of her children. She had to push them. This wasn't during the hospital time, you know, you get epidural and thing. Bro, this, your children, bro, they was adults, bro. This is your lifelong work here, right? Now she have to watch her husband. But you don't want to see your loved one in that state, bro. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to see that, bro, especially during the time you're going through, right? So now think about your perspective, right? If my wife, who already gone through so much, rather see me die than to suffer, which I think is merciful in a lot of ways, bro. I with your mommy, bro. I rather you don't suffer, bro. This already your last moments. Let it be comfortable. That's why they have texts that say, give strong drink to those who are perishing type situation. You know what I mean? And so yeah, if Job, if it put the Job like that, right? And Job like, bro, I probably could die too, because I don't see the way this pattern going. At least, okay, let me curse God and die so my wife don't have to be in agony watching me be in this state. Because I physically in pain, but you also emotionally in pain. I willing to take it and live and keep and stay righteous, but for the sake of making you, like comforting you as well, I'll consider what you're saying and curse God and die so that you don't have to suffer more than you already suffering. I think the devil was banking on Job to have that type of a thought process. Sometimes you don't do things for yourself. Like if it's up to me, I willing to endure this thing, bro. But because I don't want to put you in that, okay, I could do this thing that I don't usually do. I can compromise in this type of way, you know? And so, yeah, I think that's a serious one, but and that's how you know the devil don't be playing fair, bro.
No, but if the devil played fair, he wouldn't be the devil.
Right? But that's crazy. Like the type of, like how he trying to bark the corner he barking Job into, bro. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? But you know what it is? I at my wits end, bro. A straw could break my back right now, bro. And now I turn to my confidant and she's saying, boy, curse God. Just curse God and
Just
die.
cheap as you curse to
You
God
see
and
what I
die,
say?
bro.
Boy, you
It's
on the edge, bro. That's what you telling me when I on the edge.
and it's so interesting too, right? Because I mean, like, she come in a way where it's like, Job, you have fought the good fight. You no longer need to hold on to your integrity, bro. Everything you did was good, and it's gone to waste. Like the words of Solomon is chasing after the vapor.
Mm.
And the only thing left at this point for you to do is just curse God and die. Because you do that, you will be out of your misery. You don't need to be this uprighteous guy right now. You don't need to be this guy who's perfect and blameless. The devils get you. One little blemish on your career ain't gonna hate you.
Right.
You're not the end. But Job saw through it. And anyway, I agree with what Job said. But he said, "You speak as one of the foolish women. You speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Shall we indeed accept good from God, and shall we not accept adversity? In all this,
Wow.
Job did not sin with his lips." And the reason why I say is interesting too, right? But he never called her wicked. So it's like he's saying, like, bro, right now you being deceived and you can't even see it because right now you talking just sound foolish. You need, because again, if she was really wicked, he would have been like, yo, that's just a wicked thing you saying right now. What you mean, curse God and die? He's saying, no, you talking foolishly right now. You being deceived, you lacking discernment, and you can't even see it. And then he hit it with the
Noted it.
bar. Go for it.
No, go on. Continue. Right, bar.
No, I'm saying then he hit it with that bar, bro. Shall we indeed accept the good from God and not the bad or not the adversity in this translation? And
That's a good one, though.
that's a bar right there, boy. That's a bar.
Yeah.
Go for it.
That's very objective. That's a very objective thing. Because I mean, if we being real, everything ain't good that happens on this earth. You say
Mm-hmm.
every day ain't a good day, right? How how imbalanced would it be if we only like if we just expect good every day, and then if anything bad happen, we just explode. You know what I mean? But that just ain't realistic. That just ain't the type of life that just ain't the way life is, right? But I was saying, you know how crazy it is, but the only thing you known for, first of all, you probably didn't know these conversations was recorded. You see what I say? Like it was just between you and you and your spouse, right? But the only thing you known for is saying the curse God. That's insane. So like, so the
What you
people who
rather
just
be known
assume,
for? Turn into a pillar of salt or cursing God and die? And tell your husband to curse God and die.
if I had to pick the lesser of both evils, I would rather be Job's wife because at least I get to stay alive, right? But because when you're alive, that's a chance you can, where no matter the posture of your heart, because you're alive, that's a chance to get it right with God. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The last thing with Lot's wife, she disobeyed God and just died. You see what I'm saying? So it ain't no teeth on the cross situation where it's like, let me just accept
You know,
God
coming
before I
back, and in
die.
the first rain, she
Proba-
just wash away.
Washed away. Washed away. Probation has closed. Um, but um, but yeah, so I don't blame people who assume that she is an unrighteous woman
Mm-hmm.
because of the only words that we hear from her. However, I do think it is improbable that she was wicked. You see what I'm saying? Only because we don't have no evidence of that, and we know how righteous Job is. You see what I'm saying? Like they would be unequally yoked. Not to say it doesn't happen, but I just find it. I just don't find it that likely. You know. And so I just feel like this is the thing, bro. The righteous man fought it 7 times, bro. I think that's in the book of Proverbs, or maybe no, it just sound like a proverb. But anyway, righteous people fall. You see what I'm saying? Righteous people do wicked things at times. You see what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
righteous people still have the capability of sinning. You know, righteous people don't mean perfect people, you know? And so in our area of most weakness, and I'd be honest with you, some of us might say far worse if we was in the same predicament she was in. But I thank God because I pray that I never in that situation to even know what I'd say. You know what I mean?
Boy,
Like
I tell you,
I have I have faith that, you know, I would be like Job. But I don't even want to know. You
the
see what
boy
I
say,
saying?
I
I don't
will
want
have
to
to
know.
test that fate.
No, I don't want to know. I could be real, bro. I don't know. I had things far less crazy than that happen that really like impact me or radicalize me in some type of way. You know what I mean? So, so like I want just dog pile on, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But that is crazy what she said. Like it is inexcusable, and it was like influenced by the enemy to say that. You see what I saying? Like that wasn't like a fruit of the spirit. That was a fleshly, some fleshly advice. That and unfoolish, bro. Because you know, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was what you said had no fear of God in it. You see what I'm
No,
saying? Curse God. You have no fear. Like you have
no
no
reference.
respect. That's quite literally foolish. Like we say foolish to mean stupid sometimes, right? And that's only like to me that's only a portion of what a fool is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the Bible, they talk about fools in the sense that they have no reverence for God. They are not directed by God, and they don't have any desire to learn about God. You see what I'm saying? Like that's a fool. A fool says in his heart, there is no
There's no
God.
God.
Now we have some of the most Stephen Hawkins, like the most wise people like of our time saying they ain't no God, bro. They atheists, but they
Mm-hmm.
still a fool. So like to me, intelligence and foolishness, it ain't like an apples to apples thing, like the way how we use it in our society today, you know?
No, agreed. Agreed. And then going even back to verse 10 now, when it says, shall we accept the good from God and shall we not accept the adversity? Again, it's like the context of knowing, like, bro, everything good we get from God as a gift, right? And just how God gives us the gift of good, God can permit the bad things to happen to us as well. Like you go back to the story of Joseph. God told Pharaoh that you will have 7 years of plenty and you will have 7 years of famine. So some people could argue God sent the famine. Even if he didn't send it, God told you the famine will come. And famines are
Mm-hmm.
by no means anything good, right? But God does permit the bad things to happen, as we can see in Job. So now you can't, like Job saying, buddy, I can't expect all things good in life. And to your point, that's impractical. Your life will not be all sunshine and roses. No matter what your pastor might tell you, who tell you feel good, wake up in the morning and just say, your life ain't always going to be good. There will be some low points. There will be times when you have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death and not fear evil, because God is with you. These things will happen. These things come to sometimes test your faith, test your character. Like God allows these things to happen. So you just can't say like, oh, everything's going to be hunky dory. It's not, because we see multiple occasions in the Bible where God allows things to happen, and He allows it to happen, and most of those times as a test of faith. Even like when the quite literal storm came to the disciples on the water, and they were scared multiple times, right? And one
Mm-hmm.
time he just said, "Peace, be still," and they was like, "Who's this guy?" Even the winds and the waves obey him. The next time when they was in the boat by themselves and the storm was raging, and Jesus come walking to them on the water, like God allows things to happen that some would very well consider by everyone's standards bad, but there's always a reason for these things to happen. So again, it's such a wise thing that Job said here, and it's such a thing that we need to ponder on, because you have people out there in the religious realm who just say, yo, everything is going to be good once you're a Christian. That is not biblically supported at all. Some would
At
argue,
all.
buddy, when you become a Christian, sometimes the devil, you have a target on your back now. He coming after
Oh,
you.
for
If you in
sure.
the world, he already got you.
Jesus's life didn't sound like the most desirable life to have, I mean, it's desirable in that you're doing the work of God. You know what I mean? You impacting life on a day to day. But Jesus was a nomad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, no home. I imagine that he grew up in a house. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I imagine that his mother had a house. But he said himself, I don't even have a home, bro. Like, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like they would go prolonged times without eating to the point they find themselves having to pluck corn on the Sabbath. You see what I'm saying? You having to pluck corn on the side, but that showed me that you couldn't even make provisions for yourself to eat. You know what I mean? And I just telling someone I don't go nowhere hungry, bro. Provisions are always made for me. You see what I say? I don't put my hunger in other people's hands. You know what I mean? Type situation, you know? And so like, but and then I think about John the Baptist, right? Whom Jesus, he say, bro, like, out of all men, you know, born of women, like that was the best. Like he was like the best prophet, you know. Jesus spoke highly of John the Baptist, but John the Baptist died in his prime, bro. John the Baptist ain't even see the same age as Jesus. You see what I saying? Like Jesus outlived him, and Jesus died young too, you know. And so it's like, I don't know, bro. Jezebel killed several hundred prophets.
Prophets,
You know
yep.
what I mean? And it's like, did y'all see that part of the Bible? Like if we being real, you all remember Stephen got stoned. Like you remember that, right? Like these
Exactly.
people, they was hot for God, bro. They was hot for God, and you know they were righteous men and women. You know, and bad things have happened to them. That's facts, and I feel like I almost on the pessimistic side, but not fully when it comes to certain things in the Bible. But like I'd see somebody who would say, you know, like I was just reading a text someone posted from the Amplified version where it say, and God will provide all of your needs according to his riches and glory in Christ. He says, I believe that's the text, but it was in Philippians 4, right? I think it's like Philippians 4:19. But in the Amplified version, they was like, after they say supply, they say something like he will liberally supply, and then in parentheses, it say fill until full all of your needs, right? And I'm like, bro, I don't see the need to add more adjectives to what the text already say. Saying God will supply all your needs and saying God will liberally supply all your needs, to me, don't try to sweeten up what God gonna do. You see what I'm saying? Because certain people, they like to say how, you know, God gonna give you all the desires of your heart. You know what I mean? Like, and he going to overflow you with blessings, right? But when we think about the widow who had her oil and her stuff, that was enough to cook the, like, this wasn't like it wasn't like,
She
man,
had,
she had
she
enough,
to suffice for that day. She ain't enough
right,
to
to suffice
sell to
for,
anybody else, make a profit. She ain't enough to get her through that day. He supplied her
right,
needs.
right. And then it was another widow who had enough to sell, and so that they could have paid for, I think it
But that
was a
was a
debt or
different
something.
blessing for a different reason,
Right,
you
that was
know?
a different. No, but I'm saying that wasn't enough to give you a mansion and to buy you a
Yeah.
chariot and a horse. You catch what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like sometimes we get unrealistic. And I ain't saying that to say God can't provide, bro, and can bless you exceedingly abundantly above all that you could imagine or all that you could ask for. That is Bible too, bro. But my thing is the expectation that our our faith is just an input output situation where God, I praise you and I, you know, give you tithes, and then you come and bless it. So they treat it like it's like the stock market or something, or like they treat it like it's an ASU. You know, that's like a loom. You know what I mean? You put in, and then you
Loom.
get. I get so much back. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but that ain't all, bro, because it's according to his riches and glory, right? And but then also he would supply your needs. You feel me? Like sometimes our definition of a need is completely different. You see what I'm saying? I might need more than one vehicle. You see what I'm saying? In my mind, but do I really need more than
Do you
one? Like you get
need
what I'm
it?
saying? Like, do I need it? Or
Mhm.
I might seriously help me. It might be very convenient to me, you know. But what's in it? Anyway, I say all to say I agree. I feel like there are times, too many times, when the prosperity aspect is leaned on heavily. I think it's necessary, but it's not foundational. Like that shouldn't be the talking point every day, you know?
No, agreed. Agreed. And then most importantly, we see even through all of this, Job did not sin with his lips. So he did not curse God. He did not blame God. He proved God right. So now we get to verse 11. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this adversity that had come upon him, each one came from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Nahamathite. For they made an appointment together to come and mourn with him and to comfort him. And when they raised their eyes from afar, they did not even recognize him. They lifted their voices and wept. And each one tore his robe and sprinkled dust on his head toward the heaven. So they sat down on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was great. That ends Job 2. But boy, oh boy, yeah, you see boys come to try, be with him.
That's good. That's pretty sweet of them. I mean, until we know otherwise in the story.
Yeah. It was good intentions.
Yeah, very good intentions, man. They didn't say a word. They just sit and let it be.
And that's the thing, right? Like sometimes some people is always won't be like, oh, I don't know what to say. Sometimes you don't need to say nothing. Sometimes there's literally no words you could say. What can I tell a man who just lost everything he had, including his children? What can I tell that man who is now not only did he lose his children, he lost his possessions, and now he is covered with this disease that is afflicting him physically? What can I say? How you doing? Don't ask me that dumb question. How you think I doing? Like sometimes, but the best thing you can do for someone is just be there for them, be there with them. And you see, I personally, I don't know if I can do it for 7 days. You know, to be there for 7 days, y'all ain't even talking. Y'all ain't even talking to each other. Y'all just there mourning.
Right. So I was trying to think about that text too, because they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was very great.
So you're saying they was talking to each other?
I can't not talk for 7 days.
The technicality.
Yeah, I can't not talk for 7 days. Everybody who know me know that. I can't do that. I might give you 1 day, a day and a half, maybe. I mean, but bro, I ain't gonna lie. Certain times you're really speechless too, though. Like something devastating happens, and you could be without words, And but maybe they spoke to each other. I imagine you have to communicate in some capacity. You get the water.
Yeah, someone got to get the food.
You see what I'm saying?
Someone got to make sure we could survive the 7 days. But 7 days was a typical time of mourning back in, I guess, ancient times, Hebrew times too. So it's probably why there was specifically 7 days was mentioned. But still, man, like, again, just being there for your friend in silence, that's just the best you could do. Because literally no words can say. And then sometimes it's like, comes off fake. You're just trying to say something because you feel like you need to say something when the best thing you do is just be silent.
But they cry when they see him, but they couldn't even recognize him. He looked so bad, bro.
Yeah, my boy was afflicted.
That's how bad his condition was.
That's just wild.
And I imagine that you ever see somebody who really just been through something and they shock, and they just like they just staring, like they ain't talking.
There's a lot to process, right?
For 7 days, he didn't say a word, bro. He didn't say, yeah, what's going on? You know what I mean? Say, hey, hungry, or thanks for coming. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And we're going to get into Job's mindset in next week's episode. But a lot was going through his mind, bro. A lot was going through your mind, as I would expect. Shoot, a lot would be going through my mind. Like, what is happening? Like,
bro, what is this
happening, bro? Bro, any memory for your last however many years is just sad to you now, bro.
For sure.
Like, you crying, you don't even know which child you're crying for. You thinking about when you probably started raising these sheep and stuff. You remember when your first sheep, you remember when your children was grown. But you remember just so much happening, bro. Like, bro, every memory is now a sad one because it's all gone.
And it's a time to mourn. It's a time to mourn. And so I imagine that, bro. everything just, yeah, bro, everything tainted, bro. Like you probably can't even find nothing, no good thing to pull from right now that's not just filled with sadness, bro. Like
Exactly.
even your wife was discouraging, you know what I mean?
Telling you to curse
And
God and die. Mercy.
yeah, that's even a blow too. That's even something more. You know what I mean? Like that's how we got. That's where we get. But sometimes you could be so in such a bad state, like a devastation happened to the family, and people say things that
Hmm.
they don't mean, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But it don't change how I feel like, you know. But
Yeah.
very solemn text, chapter today, as we see Job, who going through probably the worst that could happen. Probably the worst that could happen to someone. You know what I mean? Like your health deteriorate, and that's on the heels of you going losing, having a lot and losing all. You see what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
then all your children as well. You see what I'm saying? Like this them type of stuff can fry your brain, bro, and just cause you to have a manic attack. You know what I mean? Like I just don't understand how he stays sane through all of this. You know, the Lord preserve. You know what I mean? And all Job did not sin with his lips, I should say. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like I wonder if that's just saying because she say curse him, he definitely didn't. Just wanted to make that distinction, or are they saying like mentally he might have been thinking something? You see what I saying, but he never verbalized it.
No, I
You
think I
know what I
think
mean?
it's I think it's overall like throughout this whole thing, he didn't curse God. He didn't blame God for his what was going to him. Like in Job's wisdom, he know what was happening to him wasn't because of God. You know what I'm saying? So I think in through, like it's just really showing that Job did not lay the blame of this at God's hands. Right now,
Mhm.
he didn't like what he was going through, but I'm not cursing God because God did nothing wrong. And again, Job is saying, even if God allowed this to happen, can I expect the good without the bad? You know what I'm saying? I've been getting blessed for years. So Job might have been thinking, bro, I guess my time come due either way. I
Yeah.
can't expect the good without the bad. So I think that Job is just rationalizing, like, okay, either way, there's a reason for this. So, but my goodness, I think that that's something we just gotta wrestle with. Even as us as well, Job was a human, but humans today like should be accept the good from God and not and shall be not accept the adversity. Because that's not a popular thing that anyone wants to hear, you know? No one want to be like, "Oh yeah, today's gonna be a crappy day, and I'm here for it." You know, like no, no one wants that. You know, like
I
no,
I
no,
do for a bad day.
you know what I'm saying? Like no one lives their
Yeah.
life that way. And when bad things happen, we'll be say, "But the devil busy today." Oh yada yada yada, right? And it's all in jest, right? But everyone's when bad things happen, everyone does not enjoy it. Everyone does not like it, and everyone trying to figure out like what causing this, what I do, and you start going like, "Mother sick, but I know I shouldn't have do this." Don't let it happen on the side when you're doing something you think you shouldn't be doing. But I know I shouldn't have been doing this right now. Had your head.
Hmm.
Nah, look, I got a flat tire.
For real.
But yeah, man, you wanna any other closing thoughts?
Man, overall, we know the devil is a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, destroy, you know, and there's no s- there's no mercy with him. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying? If he got to threaten your life to get you to recant your feelings or to get you to act in the way that he wants you to, that he will do. And yeah, like he'll even like to me on some like the way the law is set up over here, like if it's done the right way, things that happen under duress or like if you if someone put a gun to your head and make you claim something like it's not valid. You see what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
the devil don't care. He don't care how you do it. And then also from God's perspective, that's not, and I mean this lovingly, that's not a good enough reason for you to betray God. You see what I'm saying? Like the devil's influence, your love for God should be stronger than the devil's influence or your pain or actually what you're going through. You know, your love for God should be stronger than your love for your family, your peer pressure or your pressure from others in any type of way. And we see that here with Job. And on one hand, we don't really get a understanding why God would even allow Job something to go this far, like the devil to go this far with Job. But one thing we do see is how possible it is for someone to remain righteous and steadfast to God, even while mourning, even while questioning things, even while in suffering. You see what I'm saying? Still be devoted to God in a way, to the point where he loves not his life even unto death. And during the end times, which people have been saying that we are in all my life, and it's true to it. You know what I mean? We are going to be at a time as Christians, you know, when the mark of the beast come around, when the Antichrist system is fully in place, when the little horn is fully healed and tries to make its dominant move, we are going to be in situations just like the Hebrew boys, where it's like do or die. You know what I'm saying? Do the world's will, the beast's will, or die. You know what I mean? And as Christians, hopefully we don't have to be in this predicament. I feel like that's ideal. But if we are, I think it's important for us to look at people like Job, look at people like the Hebrew boys, look at people like Daniel, look at people in the Revelation, and know that our life, if we lose our life for God's sake, we will find it again, you know? After Satan's fatal attempt to get Job to sin, he came up with another plan. He believed that Job would certainly sin if he thought that his health and thus his life was at stake. And so God gave Satan permission to attack his health as long as he does not kill Job. But even after inflicting Job with painful sores, Job did not curse God. But while Job is in agony and pain, he is visited by his 3 friends who have come to mourn with him. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.